That could be applied to everything in the list before and after, because I was in Phoenix about 20 years ago, and the senior bishop there was up in years, and he said, I've been thinking about this, Brother Thuston. This word incontinent, what does that word mean? Bishop Felton King. He said, what does that word mean? And I told him, I think it means no restraint, no discipline. He said, that's not enough. I said, all right. I think it means out of order. He said, that's not enough. I said, well, it can mean both physically and spiritually no self-control. Just can't help myself. I talk too much because I can't help myself. I spend too much because I can't help myself. I argue too much because I can't help myself. I can't keep a job after I get it because I can't help myself. I go and eat too much at the all-you-can-eat restaurant because I can't help myself. I don't pay my bills on time when I got the money to pay them. I just hold on as long as I can. I can't help myself. I cannot seem to settle down. I can't slow down. I cannot get my life in order because I'm now at a point where my life is out of control. Back it up, back it up, back it up to chapter 1. Back it up to chapter 1. Back it up to chapter 1. Verse 7. Here's the solution. For God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and a sound mind. This is a life that has finally found control. That's amazing, wasn't it, when the U.S. Air pilot, and I thought about that when I flew U.S. Air this week. He was taking off from LaGuardia, New York, and a flock of geese got sucked into the engine, and right as they were taking off, the motor stalled and died, and then the plane began to rapidly sink. And rather than to panic, take his hands off the wheel, say, ain't nothing I can do about it, it's just going to be what it's going to be, that pilot is a celebrated hero today. Because even though the plane was sinking and the lives of 152 passengers was in peril, he refused to allow himself to lose control. I'm not going to make it any higher. I don't have power. The controls cannot help me. The air controller cannot give me any advice. I'm about to plunge into the Hudson River, and if we don't freeze to death, we'll drown. But all of them survived and are alive today because of a pilot who was not out of control. That's kind of what Shakespeare meant, wasn't it, when he said all the world is a stage. And in one's life there are entrances and exits, and you will have played many roles before you die. And your life on this stage we call earth will have many entrances and many exits, and you've already had a few. But the question is not, will you live in perilous times? But the question is, how will you keep from losing control? If you have fear, it didn't come from God. Fear is not of God, because perfect love casteth out all fear. For in fear there is torment. God did not give us the spirit of panic. God didn't give us the spirit of terror. God did not give us the spirit of chaos. I can't get no help in here. I must be in the right way with all these demons I'm challenged with. God did not give us the spirit of frustration, vindication, suffocation, overinflation, or deflation. God didn't give us the spirit of fear, even in fearful days. But he gave us love and power and a sound mind. Winston Churchill said he was so exposed to rejection that for an hour at dinner after the war, he wouldn't speak. And the woman sitting next to him asked him what was wrong, and for a whole hour, the great statesman just sat there at a jubilant party, speechless. And for an hour, he wouldn't say a word until finally he said, "Curses, curses. Ruthless, the times that measure out rejection. We are all worms, worms, worms." What a thing to say for the man who's just endured and triumphed at that time in the worst war in modern times and stabilized England and set up with Stalin and Roosevelt to help introduce a brave new world. And yet he said, it's just all curses. Won the war, but it's curses. London is not being bombed, but curses. And our whole experience is a time measure of rejection, and we all are worms. That's a man that was living a life that was out of control. Do you know that we live in a time where a lot of saints are mad? Saved. But I'm about through hoping y'all. I know y'all. I guess y'all know that. This won't be one of those hooping messages today. I'm not just talking about the insane saints. I'm talking about the sane ones that are still mad. Nothing satisfies them. Always critical. I'm talking about saints that are never satisfied. And you wonder what's wrong with them, but always ask what's wrong with me. Because when you have a spirit of anger, Lord help me, Lord have mercy. Now, you're all going to get angry sometime. Yes. Even the coolest of us will have their moments of indignation. But the book said you got to be sure that your life is not a life out of control because it's consumed with anger. Be ye angry and sin not, which means cut it off. Angry at your mother, and she's in the grave. Angry at your father, you don't even know him. Angry at your first and second and third husband. Angry at the wife that you never even had. Angry on your job, angry at your family, angry at the neighborhood, angry at the police, angry about the past, the present, and even locked and loaded to be angry about the future. That's because your life is just out of control. I don't know when I felt happiness. Talk to somebody in Arizona, great person. I don't know when I felt the real me again. I don't know when I really had a great day. I said, brother. He said, what's wrong with the church? I said, it's not the church. What's wrong with the bishop? It's not the bishop. What's wrong with us? It's nothing wrong with us. Your life has just gotten out of control until you go to bed mad, you get up mad, you eat mad, you play mad. When you're smiling, you're mad. When you're shouting, you're mad. And the first thing to realize, I'm just out of control. Mad, saved, and mad. Saved, but sad. Saved, never glad. If it's been a long time since you've really rejoiced, you need to know that means you're out of control. I don't have a pistol, don't have a knife. I'm not a part of a conspiracy team. But if you cannot remember when you've had a happy day, your life is out of control. Can I go a little further? if you constantly have some back talk and got to have the last word in every conversation, your life is out of control. If you cannot stand to be by yourself and you've always got to have somebody else with you everywhere, every time, even between the sheets, it just means your life is out of control. If you end up cursing before you start blessing, your life is out of control. If you find yourself always wondering who's going to get you back for what you sent out to them, your life is out of control. And if your favorite summary for the week is it's boring, it's not an incurable disease, but it is a diagnosis of a soul just out of control.